I want to move on. I want to talk about James Maddison because obviously an unbelievable performance from him on Saturday. Got his goal, which was a lovely dink over the keeper. And I feel like some of his performances have gone under the radar this season because the results haven't come our way. Obviously, a very disappointing season after he came back from injury. Couldn't get back to his best. But I feel like he is getting back there now. Obviously, a brilliant performance on Saturday. But you mentioned before, I think it was you, Johnny. I can't remember who it was that mentioned that James Maddison needs that space. But you look at that game yesterday. I don't think he did need that space because a lot of the times he was creating that space for himself where he had 2 or 3 men around him and he was just wriggling out of those situations and just charging us on the attack. And I feel like James Maddison works really well within those tight spaces, and he works well when he has space as well. So do you feel, Johnny, that he is getting back to his best now?
Well, look, you know who I know in football, and they said to me when we signed Madison, because of Angie's system, that they worried that he wouldn't have as much space as he likes to work in because it's so inverted, and it's compact. When he played for Leicester, he would be tucked in at the front behind Vardy. And those little slip balls in for Vardy was where Vardy got so many of his goals. Maddison with his free kicks, and playing just tucked in behind this front. We don't really see him take up that position as much under Ange. We see him more as a deep liar. Now, I like him playing with Bentancur personally, because Bentancur for me is the guy who's great in the transitions. A fit Bentancur and a form Bentancur, pick up the ball from Romero, switch it and deliver the ball to Madison. I'd like to see Madison just a little bit further forward where he's affecting that front third every time, slipping in the likes of, whether it be Johnson or Solanke or whoever it is, Son on that left-hand side. I think we can see more from him. Yesterday's game was the best game. I think you're right. I said since he's been injured, I think that's his best game. I would agree with you in a Spurs shirt. We need to see him take it up, but as Jacob said as well, sometimes he tries to do too much. I'd like to see him, but when did we last score a free kick? Anyone know? Let me know.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. It's just like, it feels like forever. Was the last free kick we scored the Harry Kane's just before he left? Was that the last one we scored?
I don't know.
That was a deflection, so I don't think it technically counted.
That was Harry Kane's 800 free kick.
I don't think we scored a single free kick, did we, last year?
So it must have been that one then.
Yeah, it must have been that one. Yeah.
Why doesn't Sonny take free kicks? I see you in the Korea kid. I know you see him banging Korean free kicks all the time.
I know he does. He's
got it in the bag. And every free kick, it's like Madison, Poro, and Basuma are all fighting for it, and Son's playing peacemaker. I would prefer Son to say, "This is mine. Back away." Mm-hmm. Now watch them. Now watch me work.
I grew up a Spurs fan, and I've seen some of the greats play for Spurs. And when we get that free kick, the excitement when they put the ball down, is he going left? Is he going right? And now all I think is, are we going Rosette? Or are we going backwards? Right?
Or is it hitting the wall?
There's no, this is why I get really frustrated, because I'm a believer in taking risk. And, Ange, when he first came here, the thing I loved about Ange was this encouragement of taking risks. And, I remember Papa Sarr trying to break the lines with passes and they're getting intercepted and people going, oh, he's passing. But Ange wants him to do that. He wants him to take risk. And I feel like we take risk everywhere. And then we get to that final third and we start adopting horseshoe football. Drive into the box and try and win a free kick. Maybe win a penalty, but draw the free kick. Then get
Wasn't Maddison like the most fouled player last season?
Yeah, but come on, Ben. How many times did you look at him last year and thinking, man, stand up, right?
This is one of the.
And sorry, I'm just going to finish here, Jacob, right? I'm just going to say, on Saturday, I keep saying yesterday, I won't snap out of it. On Saturday, on Saturday, I felt like he didn't go down. He rode those tackles. And, I was one stage, I was applauding him and saying to the guy next to me, thank God he's not going down, because James Maddison last season was going down every single tackle. Play the game, play the whistle, try and break the challenge, try and drive on. If you win a free kick, you win a free kick. Stop trying to buy the referee's attention, diving. Don't want to see it. Leave that to Arsenal. Sorry, Jacob.
100%.
I wanted to piggyback off of that because largely last season that was one of my main critiques. And Romero, who, as you can see, I've got my Kuti shirt behind me, and anyone who's seen or heard me online knows I ride for my man Kuti Romero, my World Cup, 2-time Copa America Winners' Cup winner, Kuti Romero. But when he got dunked on by Gabriel, his first instinct was to turn around for a referee to help him. I hate that. As a goalkeeper, I played goalkeeper for over 20 years, not at any high level, obviously, like, school and stuff, and then rec league, etc. But my number one thing that I never liked was my defenders, anyone on my team, when they would look at the ref for help. They're not a lifeguard. They're not here to make sure you don't drown. They're just watching you play the game. So play the damn game. And if they let it go, guess what? Now you can push the envelope 2-3 inches on this direction because they're not going to call that. And then it's almost like that dog mentality. And I don't like weak mentality. And in that moment, after he got pushed and then dunked on, he looked for a ref to save him. And I did not like that. And I thought, this is hopefully not indicative of a bigger problem within the locker room where these players are looking for help, because Madison last year did a lot of that. And that was a large part of my critique on him. That's the reason why I can't stand that Bruno Fernandes guy that plays for Red Devils. Because you get touched, you fall, and they're falling down like, help me. Don't do that. This ain't Superman. It's not a damn comic book. Get up and play the game. Take the contact or don't. It's just, either be I hate to be so arbitrary like this, but either be a man in the moment or you don't. You fold. And to me, Madison showed he's going to pirouette on the ball, ballerina, dance on it, take the contact, fall down, and get up and take the free kick. Or be upset that he didn't get the call while he's tracking back. Like, it was a less of a getting up and a wham, and he would get up and get on with it. And that's kind of the thing. You fall down, scrape your knee, you're going to sit there and cry about it, or you're going to go fix it, And I thought Madison did a good job of that. We need more of that from everybody. Just less excuses, more action.
Ben Simeon, you would know this. I can't remember the numbers, but you probably got them there somewhere. Last season was obviously his worst season in the Premier League for any club. What was his next worst? Do you know his next worst stats?
What, in terms of goal contributions?
Goals and assist contributions. Sorry, because he scored 4 goals last season.
Last season, it wasn't his worst in the Premier League, but his worst was for Leicester in 1920. 9 goal contributions in 31 games.
But how many goals did he score?
8.
Right, so half the amount.
Sorry, 6 goals. Sorry,
6 goals, 3 assists.
Goals, yeah.
Last year was 4 goals, 9 assists. In terms of goal scoring, it was his worst performance in the Premier League.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Johnny, about his relationship with Dejan Kulusevski, with this kind of new, like, 2 attacking number 8s, essentially, is what we're calling it. Are you enjoying watching that at the moment?
So, when when Ange came to the club, I said 2 things. You can't play Kulu out in the right wing. He's not a winger, okay? He's told you himself he plays his best game. So I was crying out, he's got to go inside, okay? And in fairness to Ange gave him the opportunity. And with opportunities, you have to grab them with both hands. And I don't think that Kulu grabbed them with both hands. He didn't show the skill set and the intelligence and football IQ that's needed to play that position. And but I have been crying out for him to play that position. He says that's his position, and I think Kulu's had his best. Although he might not be banging in hundreds of goals every week, I think we're seeing the best start he's had to a season for Spurs. His work ethic is superb. He just runs and runs and runs, and I think he's been a great asset in the middle of the park. I was getting totally frustrated with him, as probably we all do or did, playing out on that right hand side. Cross the bloody ball. Stop checking back onto your weak foot. onto your strong foot. Now I feel like he can run at them, run at players. Still, the last thing I would say about him is that last touch. I just, little bit of calmness and discipline with the final touch inside the box, and I think he can be a massive influence on this team. But I think he's had a very good start to the season, and I personally thought whilst Madison was man of the match, I thought Bentancur was absolutely outstanding on Saturday, and I see so many plaudits for Madison and obviously Brennan Johnson for scoring the goal. It's almost like the Bentancur performance was sort of swept under the carpet somewhat, but
it was like an enabling performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought.
But that's what they always say about Rodri, right? And RIP to his ACL. But for Rodri, it was always like, well, you barely even knew he was out there when the dropping the deep lying defender, the anchor man in your midfield, when they are having a stellar performance. To me, it is always going to be unnoticed. When they're having a poor, average, mediocre performance, that's when you start noticing them. You're like, okay, he did do his job there. He did, and I thought it was such a good job from Bentancur that he did. It just, you forget he was out there because he was cleaning it up so well. But I think your initial question was about Kulusevski.
Yeah.
And for me, the only game in which I've questioned his ability this season specifically was when he was started in the false nine. And then it was like he kind of drifted in the weird spaces and he was kind of not really there. And then we changed it up at halftime, I think, and someone else came on, and then I think Son moved into the 9 when we were missing Solanke. But Kulusevski, for me, when he's been in that midfield, I feel like he's made his point. Like, you can't drop me. This midfield needs me. The work rate, like you said, getting forward, getting back, whether it be in transition and build up, he's always there. Whether we're pressing, he's there. It's just, he's always there. You look up, there he is running around. And sometimes, versus Coventry, it was a little bit like, where you going? You're just kind of running around. But he came on and he created that goal. I mean, it was Maddison to Kulu, then to Jed Spence. But again, the game was flat. He comes on and he brought something to it. Now, he's not going to be that guy that comes in and you're like, oh, wow, look at Ronaldinho go. Or, oh, wow, look at this real tank in the midfield. He's just there, and he's going to do a lot of things really well or good, and a couple things not so good. It's kind of almost in the positive to medium ground of like a performance. Something we've always said about Ben Davies is like, he'll give you a solid 6. He's not going to give you a 7, but he'll go out there and he'll give you a solid 6, maybe a 6.5. And it's like that with Kulu so far this year, where last year I wanted to see him when Madison got dropped. Let's see what he could do in the middle of the park there. And he had one good game, then he got bodied for 3 games, then he went to another position. It was like, okay, clearly that didn't work. But where he's at now, I think as a player, strength on the ball, ability with the ball at his feet, when there's space to his right, to his left, and there's 2 men on him, he'll kick the ball into that space and maintain the possession. Like, there's so many times he's so strong with the ball that is something we direly need in the midfield, is someone who can take the contact, dribble between a man, and then find the forward pass. And Kulu does that so many times very, very well. And I think that this midfield 3 with an on-form fit Bentancur while he's not suspended, this has to be our midfield, in my opinion, because I love Basuma. That 3rd goal doesn't happen without Basuma, but Basuma's shown moments where he's clicked on for 80%, then turned off for 5%, and then back on the next 10%. So, I felt like Bentancur in that position that he ran, he was flawless. When that position is flawless, you don't even know that they're out there half the time.
You know what it is with Kulusevski though. Like, I think he's been our most consistent performer from the start of the season till now. I think he's been brilliant this season, but I do think he still has that extra to give in terms of those consistent goal contributions. He's got the quality to do it, and I agree with you, Johnny. He kind of does all the fundamentals right, but then when he gets there, sometimes the final pass is a bit lacking. And I feel like we're just waiting for Kulusevski to really explode this season, to really provide us with those consistent goals and assists, and I feel like it's coming. I feel it.
I feel like as well, having him and Madison together, it means that teams can't give extra focus to either one of them because we've got that dual threat in the middle, that creative threat. I feel like last season, a lot of the time when it was Madison next to Sarr with either Basuma or Bentancur, you could just kind of double up on Madison and bam, our creativity is gone in the middle. And they're not really worried about Sarr playing a killer pass or anything like that. But now you've got Madison and Decky together. I think it makes a big difference and it gives teams even more things to think about. And I think that's exactly what Ange wants. He wants that dual threat. He wants as many people in that final third as possible who are able to make a difference. And I think having Decky and Madison there is making that difference. And in terms of Madison on Saturday, for me, definitely his best performance in the Tottenham shirt. I don't think I've seen him I think he did so many dribbles in tight spaces on Saturday. Given how Brentford was set up, I think that was a real big key talking point as to why we won the game. Exactly. And especially because Brentford played that man-to-man marking. That's basically 7 times we were able to get open up Brentford because he was able to drill past his man on several successful occasions, and that was massive. And I thought his pressing was incredible. The amount of times he won the ball in the final third. I think obviously he won it for the first goal, he won it for the second goal as well, and played it quickly to Sonny. Obviously he scored the third goal, but he created countless opportunities for his own pressing, which is an underrated thing, I think, which he doesn't get as much credit for. His ability to be aggressive in those situations, which I thought he was absolutely brilliant. So I think this season he's played pretty consistently well, in my opinion. I don't think he's had a terrible game, and maybe the Arsenal game was his worst one, but I don't think he's had a bad game so far this season. And I think this was the best of the lot, and hopefully it's a sign of him really reaching those heights that we know he can reach and getting back to his best, because when he's in that kind of form he's in yesterday, he's one of the best players in the league. That's the reality.
Do you agree with that, Jacob? Because Maddison came out after the game in his interview with Spurs and said, he feels from a personal point of view that he's been playing well all season. And there's been a bit of a narrative, if you follow social media and a few of the channels, saying Maddison has been poor this season. In my opinion, I think he's had a fairly good season from a personal point of view. Obviously, it was topped off by that Brentford game, but how do you feel about his form coming into the game? Do you feel like he has been good all season?
No, actually, I haven't. I've felt like he's needed to do more. And there's one thing to statistically do well and bring an aspect to the match, but when you are a co-captain, I hold you to a certain standard. Now, everyone can have a different standard that they hold players to, and I'm perfectly comfortable, and managers alike. Like, I'd never have a problem when people say, oh, Ainge out, this, that. It's all good. Everyone has their opinion. My opinion of James Maddison has been, he's not doing enough for me. He's not being good enough. And I, before this match, said, I need to see more of this. I want to see him do well, perform well, and he has to a degree. Like, there's a level that he's performed to, and there's no escaping that. But it's like with Son. Has Son been good? Yeah, he's been good, but I think he can be better. I hold him to a higher standard. He's the best player in this team. I need him banging goals left and right. GA, and that's what he did for me versus Brentford. And I need it again. Same thing with James Maddison. Not that I hold him to the highest echelon, like a Son, Kane-esque, but the same standard I would hold a Eriksen to, if you will. I want you to hit those same levels because you show that you can. Now keep doing it. It's like the car goes fast every once in a while. Every 10 weeks, the car will go fast. No, I need the car going fast every time I start the engine. And if he can give us that, I don't know. Leicester fans have always warned us that he's going to give you 10 good games, 15 bad, 10 good, 15 bad. And it's up to him to break that.
And the rest out with injury.
Yeah, and then the rest is with injury. And to be fair, I make this joke, and it's more of a joke because I like to banter about it. But last year, he sold me a dream. He sold me Matacoin, the best crypto. I thought we were to the moon. We were booming. And slowly every week I'm taking more and more out of my bank. And I say, my wife, let's get all the life savings out and invest in Matacoin. He's better than Odegaard. He's better than Bruno Fernandes. He's better than all these people. I kept going on everywhere, banging the Madison drum because I was like, wow, for 10 games. And then when he got injured, it was like, oh, my account got deleted. Oh, let me get back in. Why did my account get deleted? I lost all my Matacoin. And then they're like, oh, well, when it comes back from injury, you'll have your account back. Beautiful. Comes back from injury. I'm like, well, where's my balance? 7 to 14 business days. Your balance will be back. It's like, okay. Well, okay, it's been 7 to 14 days. No, another 7 to 14 days. There's a window there. It's a gray area. And so it's like waiting and waiting and waiting. Eventually, I lost hope. I don't think I'm getting my Matacoin back. But I'll tell you what I saw yesterday versus 2 days ago versus Brentford, I feel like, hey, maybe my bank balance will come back soon on my Matacoin. I don't know. But again, it's up to him to continue to do this, to show me that was worth the losses that I took, because right now I guess I'm a lover scorned, but yeah, I'll quickly fall back in love, James. And he opened the door again and said, I'm still here. He's outside with the boombox. Now it's just up to us to see where we can go from there.
Yeah, Jacob, I think we all kind of was investing in heavy crypto after the first 10 games of the season. Madacoin, Bissouma coin, all these kind of coins. Bissouma's better than Rice, and Maddison's better than Odegaard, and all this kind of stuff. But
it was fun, though. It was fun.
It was fun. It was fun. But it's a long time ago now.
Yeah.